The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
This is Hikaleo.
I am ELP.
And this is Keeping It Strong Style.
We love you.
Mwah.
Yo, this is Rich Latta from One Nation Radio. This is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We present to you the Ace of Podcasts, Keeping It Strong Style. Let's go. It's the Ace of Podcasts, Keeping It Strong Style. Covering New Japan, they ready to hold it down. Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Josh come and hit a job out and bury all the frauds. From the Tokyo Dome over to the G1. Social Suplex is the network where we can get it done. I'ma chill and let them have it, cause this is just an intro. Keeping it strong style, 6 stars from the get-go, boy. Yeah, from Tampa Bay to the Tokyo Dome, this is Keeping It Strong Style with your hosts, Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Joshua Smith. And thank you for listening.
Welcome to Keeping It Strong Style, the Ace of Podcasts on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Jeremy Donovan here solo this week. On today's show, I'll review nights 4 and 5 of the Road to Destruction and cover all this news in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Please support our show by subscribing and following the Social Suplex Podcast Network and Keeping It Strong Style on the podcast app of your choice and leaving a rating and review. You can also get all the network's podcasts over at socialsuplex.com. Check out our Chop Tea store, chop-tees.com/KI Strong Style. That's where you can get your official Keeping It Strong Style merchandise. There's free shipping on every order and 10% off your first order, chopped-tees.com/KI Strong Style. If you enjoy this podcast, please consider making a one-time or monthly donation by visiting socialsuplex.com/donate and click on the donate button under the Keeping It Strong Style logo. And I am streaming live right now on patreon.com/KI Strong Style for IWGP subscribers. If you want to watch our show live or listen without ads, you can sign up at patreon.com/KI Strong Style. And like you heard, I am solo this week. Young boy taking a PTO day here. So gonna hold it down while he's off this week. Should be back in action next week. So we got some Road to Destruction to talk about. But first, a couple more plugs here. So I'll see, like I heard, I'm streaming live on Patreon right now for our $10 IWGP subscribers. So if you do subscribe to that, you get access to these weekly live stream, the video version of the show, and you get access to everything else on the other tiers. And if you are a $5 grade 1 subscriber on the Patreon, you get access to all of our bonus audio. Josh right now is doing the Tanahashi Ace of the Universe series, and we just had episode of 2006 come out this weekend. So I know there was a little bit of a stall there, but Josh is back in the saddle with that. So the 2006 episode of that is available right now on the Patreon. So if you are a $5 or $10 subscriber and you have not checked that out yet, please go ahead and check that out on the Patreon. Please leave a comment, give Josh some feedback on that. And be on the lookout for more episodes dropping soon. I think he is pretty close to having 2007 ready to drop, so hopefully that will drop this week and get you guys all caught up on that series as we head into Tanahashi retirement in the Tokyo Dome. So check out that, and then also the Social Suplex newsletter. I know we've mentioned it a few times on the show, and we've talked about some of the news that has come out of there before, but I don't think we plug it enough, so definitely wanted to get it up front here. Go to socialsuplex.com, and that's where you can find the Social Suplex newsletter issue 10 dropping this past week. Lots of great tournament coverage in there, a lot of features, a lot of really great stuff. I think this newsletter is so great, and it's up there with all your other wrestling newsletters, and the coverage and the writing. It's really great stuff. And if you're not checking that out, it is free. That's one of the perks of this newsletter. And kind of the heart behind the mission of this thing was not to have another paywalled newsletter, another paywall source of news. And we're trying to break through here and give you guys some news for free. We're asking you guys to pay for stuff for Patreon and for merch, and everybody and their mom has some kind of paywall and pay source that they're asking wrestling fans to pay for. So the newsletter is absolutely free. You can donate to the newsletter. All donations to the newsletter go towards the newsletter. So if you go through the newsletter, there is a donate button there. Once again, shout out to Trish from the Trish and Sarah Wrestling podcast, Tim Hunter, and all the other writers and contributors of the Social Suplex newsletter. It's just really great stuff. Comes out bi-weekly. You can subscribe and get it sent to your email, or you can join our Discord server. We got a newsletter channel in there. Trish drops the links in there every time a new issue is out. So go ahead and check that out. Really great stuff there. Well, let's jump into what we got to talk about this week. So we had a few shows this past week, all on this Road to Destruction tour. And there was a kind of a special show that happened on Friday. The Shinichi Champion presents Peon. It was from Corkin. It was a pay-per-view. Now, unfortunately, I did not watch this show. It's really hard to justify paying more money for shows on New Japan World that are not big shows. So I didn't pay for the show, and I didn't take the time and effort to sail the 7 seas to find the show. So I did not watch it. I don't have a review here. I did see lots of clips. I saw lots of talking points about it. We'll probably need to watch it at some point to make sure we got everything in completion for our year-end awards. But yeah, I've failed you all as a New Japan podcaster. I did not watch the Shinichi Champion presents Peon. I have the results here. I'll go over those really quickly, and just some interesting notes from that. So the show opened up. There was Katsuya Murashima, Yoshihashi, and Yuji Nagata defeating Shomakato, Togi Makabe, and Toru Yano. Then there was a mass battle royal. We had Hikaru Sato defeating Daiki Nagai, Gato, Great Okan, Hartley Jackson, Jado, Robbie Eagles, Tetsuya Matsumoto, Tiger Mask, and Zane J. Obviously, a lot of those guys are not normally masked, so very interesting to see what that looked like. I think this was the match that Hiromi was. No, actually, no, that was the Hands of Metal. I saw the picture of, but yeah, so don't know what they did for the mask battle royal there, but Hikaru Sato won that. Then we had El Desperado, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Master Wato, and Bolton Oleg defeating the House of Torture team of Dick Togo, Evil, Ren Narita, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. Then there was the Handsome Rambo match, which Masatora Yasuda, Young Lion, ends up defeating ELP, Gabe Kidd, Hiromu, Shingo, Sho, and Yo. And from what I understand, it was kind of one of those situations where everybody kind of eventually eliminated each other, and Yasuda was kind of the last one by chance laying in the ring. And so big win there for Yasuda. And then the main event, we had Dangerous Tekkers, Taguchi, and Tomohiro Ishii defeating the TMDK team of Kosei Fujita, Roy Oiwa, who teamed up with Shota Umino and Yuya Uemura. I've heard rave reviews about this matchup. Has a great rating on Cage Match. Seems like it's something that could be on our tag team match of the year when we get into our year-end awards, which, believe it or not, will be coming sooner rather than later. Our grading period cuts off at the beginning of World Tag League, which is usually it's after Power Struggle, technically, is when our grading period cuts off. So that's usually middle of November is when the grading period cuts off, and we start preparing for our year-end awards, getting the ballots together, getting all the categories and nominees. So we'll definitely need to get this tag team matchup won. Saw lots of, like I mentioned, rave reviews about it. Really great. Found it interesting that, it was kind of a old guard versus new guard matchup here, and the old guard won. And also, I know you do have the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion on the quote-unquote old guard side. So I get that. Maybe you want the champions team to look strong, and again, I didn't watch the match, so maybe I'm missing on some context here, but just looking at the result, I think you would have wanted the young guys to get a win here and kind of really establish, hey, the new generation's here. And I heard a lot of these new gen guys had great performances in the match, but I feel like they probably should have gotten the win here. And when you look at that, the Olgar team, I mean, you have guys like Taichi, Taguchi, and Ishii who eat pins all the time. Very easy to beat those guys. And so I feel like you could have given, Fujita could have easily pinned Taguchi. Oiwa could have pinned Taichi. Umino could have pinned Taichi. Yuya could have pinned Taichi. All those guys could have pinned Taichi or Ishii. So interesting that they ended up going with the old guard here, but sounds like it was a really fun show. So hopefully at some point I'll get around to watching it and getting all my star ratings and everything logged for our year-end awards. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like the pay-per-view strategy, I don't know. I don't know the numbers, so I don't know if this kind of stuff is actually working and drawing extra money. But for me, I think that if you're going to do pay-per-view on New Japan World for shows, I feel like the strategy is kind of backwards. I feel like they're doing them for a lot of these kind of wacky shows. There's this show, there's like the Despy Invitational, there's Taiji Shimori's ridiculous, whatever that's called. And they do all these kind of one-off shows that are on pay-per-view, and I'm like, a lot of it's kind of funny, haha. Depending on the show, it's not really canon. So it's like, what is really the incentive to pay for an additional show that's kind of more lighthearted and not quite as in the storyline mix? I feel like if you're going to do the pay-per-view thing, I mean, I think it would make more sense to have your bigger flagship shows be pay-per-view, your Wrestle Kingdoms, your Dominions, your King of Pro Wrestlings. I feel like those are the cards that are more pay-per-view worthy. Those are the shows that I would be more inclined to pay extra for, rather than, Shinichi Champion presents Peon. But again, obviously, if they did do that, I mean, sure, there would be lots of complaints of people who have been getting Wrestle Kingdom now for years for, $9.99 yen, whatever the price is now with the whole price change and stuff. And so, yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know what the whole deal is with their pay-per-view strategy, but they keep doing them, so maybe it's working. Maybe there are enough people who are, throwing in on these extra shows that it makes sense, but I feel like you potentially could get a bigger yield and buys if you were doing it for the bigger shows. But that's just my 2 cents. Again, I don't know the numbers. I don't know the behind the scenes. This thing could be killing it for them. Well, let's move on to Road to Destruction Night 3. So this was on Saturday, September 13th from Korakuen Hall. So the show opened up. We had Tatsuya Matsumoto and Zane J wrestling to a 10-minute time limit draw. So obviously this continuation here between this young lion rivalry with Matsumoto and Zane J. And, these guys are really getting better. I thought a lot of the chain wrestling here was really good. You had Matsumoto targeting also the legs of Zane J here to try and set up that the Boston Crab. Both guys also kind of targeting the arm. Zane spent a lot of time going after the left arm of Matsumoto. And so, yeah, some really good submissions, really good grappling here. Matsumoto ended up getting the half crab on Zane J as the 10 minutes elapsed going into the 10-minute time limit draw. And even though it was a draw, usually the real kind of quote-unquote winner of the match for these guys is whoever got the guy in that, submission predicament when the bell rings. So Matsumoto had the advantage here. So, you can kind of say he quote-unquote won this one. Had he had more time, perhaps he would have tapped out Zane J. But the time did elapse, and so these guys will kind of continue. We know how the Young Lion formula works. These guys will continue to have 10-minute time limit draws. They will then eventually extend the time limit out to 15, and then they will start beating each other in like 8 minutes. So these guys are progressing well, and I'm sure we'll start seeing these guys pick up wins pretty soon. Then following that, we have the team of Togi Makabe and Tomoyuki Honma in Tiger Mask defeating the Young Lion team of Katsuya Murashima, Masatora Yasuda, and Shomakato in 7 minutes and 43 seconds. So more Young Lion action here going up against the veterans. All Young Lions looked pretty good as well. Towards the end of the matchup here, they were all taking turns hitting their moves on Togi Makabe in the corner, but Togi Makabe was able to kind of fight back, hitting a body slam on Yasuda, Hanma hitting a Kokeshi, and then Togi Makabe hitting a big lariat on Yasuda to get the win. So kind of your standard Young Lion versus New Japan dad matchup here. Nothing really of interesting note, but it's kind of your same old what you expect with that kind of matchup there. Then we had a preview for the Never Openweight title match that's coming up. We had Bolton Oleg, Shota Umino, and Yuya Uemura defeating the House of Torture team of Dick Togo, Don Fale, and Evil. And so, as usual, you had House of Torture shenanigans in this match. They attacked from the beginning. Obviously, a lot of the focus of the match between Oleg and Fale, and so it's Oleg continuing to try to show his power and try to throw Fale around. And so, the whole thing of him trying to lift Fale and not being able to in this match. You also had Umino, who was trying to show his strength as well, trying to lift Fale but couldn't. And towards the end there, you had Uemura, who got in and hits a Hurricane Rana and a cross arm breaker on Dick Togo, who taps out. So baby faces get the win here and standing strong. A couple questions here. First from Les Clinician 7252. He says, are you guys seeing a Shota Uemura World Tag League run and challenging the tag belts at Wrestle Kingdom, or a straight up one-on-one match? I don't know. I mean, I think it can go any of those ways. Right now, it clearly seems like they are positioning them as a tag team. So my guess is that they're going to be in World Tag League probably together to kind of set something up there. And yeah, I could see them being the guys that win World Tag League. Especially if you do have the Knockout Brothers coming in to Tag League as tag champions, and if the Knockout Brothers kind of get Ishii and Taichi out of there, you're going to need to establish a new team to face them, and so that could be kind of an interesting, generation clash there with Uemura and Umino taking on the Knockout Brothers. So I could see that. However, I do feel like if it was me, if I had the book, I would put a lot of emphasis on the young guys on this card. There's going to be a lot of eyeballs on this show for Tanahashi's retirement, for the debut of Aaron Wolf. There's going to be a lot of buzz around the show, at least in Japan. And so I would take this opportunity to try to highlight some of the younger stars. And I guess, not saying you can't highlight the tag division, but New Japan's just not really a tag team promotion. And you don't really have a guy being the ace that's just stuck in the tag division forever. So if it was me, I think I would prefer that they end up having a singles match just so that you can highlight both those guys, put them in a big spot, give them the opportunity to go out there and kill in a singles match and get over and kind of show people what the next generation of singles wrestling is going to be in New Japan. But I could easily see them going with a tag team title route, and I guess maybe that's not the worst thing, especially because I feel like with Umino, I don't really know what's going on with his character right now. He went from the whole I'm serious, shave my head, to he's now wearing backwards baseball caps. He looks like a Twister from Rocket Power. He's back to kind of slapping hands, kissing babies, and seems to kind of just be happy-go-lucky Umino again. And then with Uemura, I feel like his character is not fully defined yet either, and there can be some stuff that's changing there. So I think both guys, there's different areas kind of where both guys need to grow. And so, again, maybe the best thing for them is to be a tag team for right now, go challenge for the tag titles at Wrestle Kingdom, and kind of build some stuff up there, build some character there in that division. And maybe that could eventually lead to a rivalry between those guys. Then next question here from Rambones Slam Pig. He says, how do you think Boltin Oleg is preparing for his biggest challenge yet in Don Fale? Would wrestling a bear in Siberia be a good idea? I have a feeling that the bear would be a lot more ferocious than one Don Fale. We did have ELP on commentary on this show, and he was just talking about how big Don Fale is right now. And so also we've seen Oleg in Fale wrestling before, so I don't really think that there's much for Boltin to prepare for here. So should end up being a fun match. Then next up here on the card, we have the Bullet Club War Dogs team of Dave Finlay, Gabe Kidd, Gato, and Taiji Ishimori, defeating Daiki Nagai, Hiromu Takahashi, Shingo Takagi, and Yota Tsuji. So your standard kind of Bullet Club LIJ multi-man matchup here, building up the David Finlay versus Yota Tsuji matches coming up, Gabe Kidd versus Shingo Takagi, and Taiji Ishimori versus Hiromu Takahashi. Hiromu coming into this match with the Global Honor Crown Junior Heavyweight Championship from Pro Wrestling Noah. So could be interesting if they end up turning the match with him and Ishimori into a GHC title match. Also, Taiji Ishimori having a very long history with the GHC title from Noah. I believe he was either like the longest reigning or most defenses, one of those records that Ishimori held in Pro Wrestling Noah, one of the top junior heavyweights there before jumping ship to New Japan Pro Wrestling. So could be an interesting wrinkle, could make that match a little bit different. A couple weeks ago we're kind of saying, this kind of seems kind of boring a little bit with we've seen a ton of Hiromu and Ishimori over the years, and it seems like the winner could be in position to face the winner of Desperado and Yo, which again just leads to more rematches that we've kind of already seen in the division, but it could be interesting if it just ends up being Hiromu defending that GHC title against one of the best GHC junior champions in history, and then he's kind of on his little side quest, and then maybe we kind of establish a new challenger in a different way so we can get some fresh matchups for El Desperado. But this was a pretty good matchup here. Really loving the intensity with the rivalries that they're building here. Finley and Tsuji, Gabe and Shingo. A lot of heat there, and they're continuing to brawl all throughout the crowd and just getting into each other's faces here. Towards the end here, we had Gabe Kidd hitting 2 pile drivers on Daiki Nagai to get the win for the War Dog team. Then, of course, we had some more jaw-jacking after the match. And like I mentioned earlier, ELP was on commentary on this match and was just absolutely unhinged on commentary for this whole show. And if you go to our Twitter account, our social media manager, Emily, did a great job recapping a lot of the things that ELP was saying on commentary that were just absolutely hilarious and just totally unhinged. And on this match, he did refer to Gabe Kidd as AEW's Gabe Kidd. So poking some fun to the little Gabe Kidd situation there. So did a great job building these matches, and I'm really excited for all the singles program that they're building up here. And I think Daiki Nagai is continuing to progress very well. He just really carries himself like a star. He has great facial reactions, great fire, and he fits in very well with the former LIJ unit. And for years on this show, we've talked about how LIJ multi-mans are kind of like the standard for what you want. They're always very, very good, and they just have great synergy, great team moves, and their team matches end up being always very exciting with these 6-man, 8-man, 10-man tags. And I think Daiki Nagai is slipping in very well there, is gelling with those guys, and I'm really liking how the unit's shaping up. I just wish they would not be unaffiliated anymore and just have some kind of name. They're obviously continuing the team. They still have the LIJ kind of colors. So hopefully there is some kind of advancement there besides them just being unaffiliated. But I do think Daiki Nagai is looking really good in these matches and is just really progressing very well. So it'll be interesting to see if he follows more of the Vegeta route, where he's just gonna graduate at some point and not take a big excursion, or if they will eventually send him on excursion to Mexico, UK somewhere, and then come back to the unaffiliated group. So following that, we had the War Dogs team of Clark Connors and the Knockout Brothers Oscar and Yuto Ice defeating the team of Taichi, Taka Michinoku, and Tomohiro Ishii in 10 minutes and 19 seconds. And we have Tomohiro Ishii returning to the tour, returning to Japan after his summer vacation in AEW. And obviously they're building up the big tag team title program here between the Knockout Brothers and Taichi and Tomohiro Ishii. And man, match after match, I am continuing to be super impressed with Yuto Ice. And like I was saying last week, I mean, this was a guy as a young lion. I mean, I thought he was fine as a young lion. I was never blown away with him as a young lion. I thought he progressed fine, but wasn't one of my favorites. But he's come back. He has the Riz, as the kids say nowadays. He carries himself like a star. He hits hard. He's very confident. He owns his character. That Yankee culture that Fraser Japan told us about several weeks ago is kind of what his whole gimmick is about. And man, this guy is awesome. And he got to mix it up with Ishii in this match, and I'm just like, bro, this was great. The back and forth slaps and chops, and Yuto was right up there with Ishii, and it was just great. Had Ishii's mouth bleeding, and Yuto Ice is a star of the team for me, and I think he's just really excelled since coming back from excursion, and love seeing him mix it up with Ishii. We'd seen him prior last week in multi-man, mixing it up with Taichi, but yeah, he just looked like a superstar in this match and really carried himself. And I love that these guys are getting heat without having to do your House of Torture style of heat. These guys are just beating up beloved baby faces. They're spitting on them. They're being super aggressive, and they're getting the heat. This is what Josh and I talk about, where it's like you can be a heel without having to have 20 run-ins, without having to hit somebody with a wrench or choke somebody out or throw powder. It's like you can get heat, real heel heat, without having to do all the shenanigans. And the Knockout Brothers are doing that. They're getting heat. They're getting booed because they're just beating the crap out of beloved guys like Taichi and Tomohiro Ishii, and spitting on them and treating them almost like young lions in a way, and just coming off really cocky, really arrogant, really confident, and they're getting that heat. The crowd is booing them, and so I think their push is working right now. And for Oscar, kind of the same thoughts I had about last week. I mean, I think he's doing a great job kind of being a just kind of big, menacing force. He's not taking a lot of bumps. He's kind of hard to knock off the feet, and he's kind of showing the power. Big scoop slams, big boots, and he's not really doing a whole ton. He's just kind of being that menacing force in the match. He gets in there, does a couple of big moves, and kind of gets out, which is, I guess, is fine for these multi-man matches. I guess the key thing that they're trying to get over is just how big and menacing he is. But I would like to see him do a little bit more than kind of spam the scoop slam and the big boots. So hopefully we'll see that in the tag team title match. But both the guys overall look really good, especially, like I mentioned, Yuto Ice. And their finisher, like we mentioned last week, is just absolutely nasty. The KOB, the jumping tombstone pile driver head kick combination. And so they hit that on Takamichi Noku here to get the win for the team, and just looked absolutely great. I do have some concern, though, with these guys, with the way, just how they're getting pushed. I'm a little nervous because I feel like they're getting pushed almost a little too strong going into the tag team title match. Ishii and Taichi really haven't gotten a lot so far in this rivalry, and I'm wondering, are they doing that because, they could just steamroll them and go into the tag title match and kind of carry this momentum, or are they doing this because somehow, some way, Taichi and Ishii are going to overcome the Knockout Brothers and kind of come back, and then maybe the story is going to be the Knockout Brothers were too cocky, too arrogant. They got too much momentum and couldn't overcome Taichi and Ishii. I don't want that to happen. I think that's the wrong call. We've seen similar stuff like this with Gato in the past. So I'm hoping this is not the direction they're going. I'm hoping that it is a situation where it's just the mega push, and they're going to continue to look strong. We have one more televised Road 2 show next week, and then we go into Destruction in Kobe. So hopefully the plan is, hey, let's just make these guys look as strong as possible. Then we'll have the tag title match. It'll be a hard-hitting match, and they'll win, and we'll just continue the push from there. I think it would be a big mistake to, go the Yota Tsuji route, where you make the guys look super impressive, and then they lose in the first big title match. I feel like Yuto Ice and Oscar, they need to win this thing and need to establish themselves. And again, we've been saying it over and over again, push the new guys, push the young guys, get these guys over. And I feel like both these guys look like stars. They come off as big deals, obviously, especially Yuto Ice. And so I think they need to put the belts on these guys, not delay things, and give them a strong push. They should easily be rolling into Wrestle Kingdom as your IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. Did have some questions here. Rambone says, after listening to Ace of the Universe 06, it's hard not to see the parallels between the short-term booking to pop a house of that era, as Josh described it so well, and what is going on now. When will Yuto Ice save us by becoming the new Ace? I mean, I think that Yuto Ice has, so far what I've seen, I think he's a guy that, I know they're trying to build his tag team up, but I see a lot of single potential with him, and I do think he could end up being the Ace. So far, I mean, he blows a lot of the young guys that are there away with his charisma, his star presence. So, I mean, pretty much Yota Tsuji is kind of the only guy that really has that kind of aura, that kind of character, that kind of superstar presence. And they don't seem to be wanting to pull the trigger with Tsuji all the way yet. But, I mean, if they're not careful, I mean, Yuto Ice could end up lapping Tsuji the way that he's going right now. And so I think Yuto Ice is awesome, super impressive. And I think that, after the tag push, he's definitely a guy you want to push singles. And I'm really excited to see this guy in a G1 scenario. I think he could end up kind of being, also it's kind of lofty to say this, but I think he could end up being, the Ishii of this generation of match quality, just based off the hard hittingness and the attitude he has so far right now. I think that he could, end up being a major player for this promotion. And we had a question here from Tokyo Rookie. Says Yuto Ice is a future main eventer. Me thinks yes, and I agree with you, Tokyo Rookie. I think that Yuto Ice could easily be a future main eventer based off what we've seen so far. And Def Triangle 720 says, do you think New Japan has hurt themselves by conditioning fans to think that tag team wrestling doesn't matter? If the division nor the tag belts feel like it matters, what is the point for people to be invested? I mean, I don't think that for New Japan they are like intentionally saying we don't want people to care about tag team wrestling, but perception is reality. And I mean, New Japan has never really been a tag team promotion, especially since Gato has had the book. There's have not really been a heavy focus on tag team wrestling. It's been the thing. What's been the major draw for the promotion for the last decade plus, and so that's why they don't really focus on it. But again, perception is reality. So if you don't really care about the division or treat it well, people don't care about it. And also, I can't speak for the Japanese fans. I don't know what the Japanese fan base thinks about the tag team division and kind of what the thoughts are there, but you kind of see in the Western discussions and the Western fan base, they don't really care about the New Japan tag division. I mean, I think the closest we've gotten for Western fans really caring about the division is when you had Dangerous Tekkers, Zack Sabre and Taichi killing it and having a good run there, and they're facing off against Golden Ace and Tanahashi and Kota Ibushi. But outside of some highlights like that, you really haven't had people caring for the tag division because, I mean, it's a title that it gets hot potatoed. You don't really have an established division year to year. It kind of depends on who's on the roster at the time. And, I mean, we've seen great tag teams kind of like War Machine and Young Bucks in the past, but a lot of times you're getting makeshift tag teams, thrown together tag teams. You're getting teams like Chase Owens and Don Fale that are their tag team champions. So the division's definitely seen its ups and downs. And I mean, I think you could invest more in the division throughout the year and make people care about it more. So when World Tag League comes around, people are more excited. But it's just not Gato's thing. It's not the company's thing. It's not what's historically drawn for the company. But hopefully, with the Knockout Brothers, they can slowly kind of start building up some more intriguing teams. But it can't just be them. So hopefully, there's a plan for World Tag League to maybe bring some interesting teams or create some new interesting teams to face the Knockout Brothers. But I think you could make the tag division more interesting if you just give it a little bit more effort than it's currently being given. So next match on the card, we had Doki, Ren Narita, Sanada, Sho, and Yujiro Takahashi defeating the TMDK team of Hartley Jackson, Kosei Vegeta, Robbie Eagles, Roy Oiwa, and Zack Sabre Jr. So continuing to build the Zack Sabre Red Narita world title match here. Also building the junior tag team title program with Sho and Doki versus the Ichiban Sweet Boys. And this was actually for a How the Torture match. It was actually a pretty good multi-man match. I gotta say, I'm really loving the interactions between Zack Sabre and Narita. There just seems to be a lot more focus on them striking, grappling, more kind of in action, not a lot of shenanigans. And so if they bring this energy that they're bringing in the multi-man matches and keep the run-ins, because we know they're going to happen. There's going to be the run-ins, there's going to be the gimmicks. If they could keep that stuff to a minimum, I think they could surprise people with the quality of world title match they could have. Because I'm watching this and I'm intrigued with what they're doing. These guys are going toe to toe. They're in each other's faces. Big strike exchanges, kicks, chops, European uppercuts. They're brawling outside, up and down the arena. It's very hate-filled, hard-hitting action. And again, if they can just keep the House of Torture to a minimum, they could end up having a really great world title match, I feel. I mean, we've seen what a Zack Narita, how the Torture match looks like a couple years ago at the Tokyo Dome for the TV title. That match was great. Their G1 match was pretty good. There was minimum shenanigans there this past year. So if they can lean more into their TV title match and less into the shenanigans, I think it could end up being a pretty great world title match. And we'll preview that more next week. But we did have the shenanigans here towards the end of the matchup. Poor Hartley Jackson here. He got hit with all the gimmicks. He got hit with the pimp cane. He got hit with the wrench, everything. They threw everything here at poor Big Jag. And Ren Narita ends up hitting the Hell's Guillotine, his top rope jumping knee maneuver, and gets the win on Big Jag Hartley Jackson. And so How the Torture gets the win here. They laid out people after the match. So these guys are carrying momentum going into their title programs coming up at Destruction in Kobe. And then the main event, we had the Never Openweight 6-man tag team title match. Master Wato, Toriano, and Yo retaining by defeating El Desperado, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Arisuke Taguchi in 21 minutes and 31 seconds. Ended up being a fun tag team matchup here. We had the return of the team, the Taguchi Japan jerseys that Taguchi had a couple years ago when the World Cup was there and was doing his own Taguchi Japan thing. So we had the jerseys came back and they forced Deathsby to wear a jersey. He was not very happy about that, threw his jersey into the crowd. And we had a good, really good back and forth matchup here. And not only was the title match, it's also building up the Yo Desperado junior title match. And it was also building up the upcoming Yano and Tanahashi program that happened on today's Road to show. So really good back and forth action. And again, ELP unhinged on the commentary, just continuing this bit of not knowing who the current champions are and finding it hard to believe that Wato was a champion in New Japan. So that bit ran all throughout the commentary. And then toward the end of the matchup here, you had Wato and Gucci mixing it up, several near falls. Wato ends up hitting his Recita Mente to get the win over to Gucci, so they retain the titles there. And then the interesting thing was post-match, Yano, he attacks Tanahashi. So for those of you who don't know, I know a lot of people just kind of see Yano as the lovable goof, but back in the day, Yano was in Great Bash Heel. He's part of the most violent players. He kind of had this death match persona, this hardcore brawler, and so he was kind of dialing back into that, going into this feud with Tanahashi for the retirement tour. So attacked Tanahashi after the bell. They brawled all the way in the back and really built some heat for today's show. So overall, really good show, very similar to the Road 2 show last week. So if you missed it, you didn't really miss much, but they are doing a great job of building these feuds and these title programs and making them a lot more heated and personal going into Destruction in Kobe. So in the next show, we had the beginning of the Battle Line Hokkaido part of this Road to Destruction tour. And so this was today, Monday, September 15th, from the Hit Arena. And the show opened up. We had the Noburetsu Rambo match. And we had Shota Umino winning the Rambo by defeating Dick Togo, Don Fale, Evil, Katsuya Murashima, Isuda, Master Wato, Bolton Oleg, Shamakato, Tetsuya Matsumoto, Tiger Mask, Yo, Yu Uemura, and Zane J in 21-42. So obviously a lot of the young lions there, and then again that the Never Openweight title program in there as well. The one thing that was weird about this Rambo, at one point when it was Fale's turn to enter, you had Fale, Evil, and Dick Togo all coming out at one time. And again, I know this is kind of a throwaway Road 2 show, house show style of match. But again, I think back to the rules, it's like, where is the officiating? Where are the rules? How can these three guys come out at one time and then be legal in the match? Or maybe they weren't, but they got thrown out. I don't know. It was really weird. And there was no English commentary for this. There was only Japanese commentary. There will be English commentary in post. But yeah, so you had those guys coming out, and then there was a lot of shenanigans. They were throwing powder. They were triple teaming people. You had Fale throwing people out left and right until Fale and Bolton eliminated each other there and continued to brawl towards the back. And then towards the end, it came down to Umino and Dick Togo. So obviously you knew what was going to happen there with those two left in the ring. So Umino gets the big win there, taps out Dick Togo to win this Rambo match. So I mean, it's fine. It's probably better than a lot of the Wrestle Kingdom Rambos. The only thing that was missing was like some random surprise entrance. But interesting thing to kind of mix this card up and get some guys all in one matchup here. Then following that, we had David Finlay and Gabe Kidd defeating Daiki Nagai and Shingo Takagi. So not sure where Yota Tsuji was this night and why this wasn't a six-man matchup. But again, more of the focus here on Gabe Kidd and Shingo, and Finlay kind of taking out his aggression on Daiki Nagai with no Yota Tsuji there. So nothing much really more there. War Dogs has to win, and we got to kind of continue to get the jaw-jacking between Gabe and Shingo, and Finlay calling out Tsuji for not being there. Again, not sure why Tsuji was not there. I don't think he's injured. Maybe it was just a night off kind of thing. And then following that, more War Dogs action. We had the Knockout Brothers teaming up with Taiji Shimori this time, and they defeated once again Taichi Taka and Tomohiro Ishii, and pretty much just copy and paste what I said about the match the previous night. Again, Yuta Ice look like a star. These guys are a great tag team. Once again, they hit that nasty KOB Tombstone head kick combo on Taka to get the win here. So again, kind of continue to really strongly build momentum And again, I'm a little worried that they're getting pushed a little too strong. So hopefully there is nothing to be worried about and they just end up winning. But again, looking super strong here in this match. Then you had the House of Torture team of Doki, Ren Narita, Sanada Show, and Yujiro. Once again, defeating the TMDK team of Harley Jackson, Vegeta, Robbie, Eagles, Oiwa, and Zack Sabre. And this match, again, very similar, again, to the previous night. And similar finish, kind of taking advantage of the ref, low blow on Harley Jackson, hit with the Pimp Cane, gets hit with the Hell's Guillotine. So pretty much same exact finish there. But again, I thought the Narita and Zack interactions were great. Again, if they can really just make that more about the action in the ring, they can have a great world title match. Then we had the main event here. So this was the 2 out of 3 falls matchup. So the first fall or stage of this match, you had Togi Makabe, Tomioka Hanma, and Toru Yano defeating the team of Desperado, Tanahashi, and Ryusuke Taguchi. So, man, this trio of Taguchi, Despi, and Tanahashi just not working out well here on this tour. And for this match, you had Yano fully back into the most violent player. Yano, he dyed the hair blonde, didn't wrestle in the t-shirt, was more aggressive into that heel deathmatch persona. So he was a lot more cheating than you would see from Yano here, hitting with the chair. And so they end up getting the win with the first fall. And then the second fall turned into a tag team match. And so you had El Desperado and Tanahashi taking on Toru Yano and a returning Takashi Iisuka. That's right, the Madman Iisuka, who was also formerly in Suzuki-gun and was also formerly a part of Great Bash Heel, teaming up with Yano and Makabe in the past. So kind of a interesting surprise here. I think Iisuka is from Hokkaido and the area that they were in for this show. So that was kind of a weird surprise to see the Madman Iisuka back, and he ran through the crowd as usual, scaring the fans, and he did bring back the Iron Fingers of Hell, and so that was what happened here towards the end of the tag portion of the match. You had Iisuka hitting Desperado with the Iron Fingers of Hell to get this qualification. So Despi and Tanahashi, they score the second fall of this match due to Iisuka just being the Madman, hitting Despi with the Iron Fingers. And then the last fall ended up being Tanahashi and Toru Yano in a singles match. And, it was a pretty good. Again, Yano really just leaning into the most violent player, very hard hitting, was trying to take advantage of the rules there, trying to cheat to get one up over on the ace. But Tanahashi was able to overcome, and there was a throwback to their rivalry in the past where Yano would try to cut Tanahashi's hair so that the whole scissors there, but Red Shoes got the scissors away from Yano. And like I said, Tanahashi was able to overcome all of the most violent player antics of Toru Yano to get the big win here and win the match, 2-1 in this 2 out of 3 falls match. And then post match, kind of a big closing show. All the guys in the ring there, and they did Toru Yano's chant, and Tanahashi sent the fans home happy. So interesting little mix up here, that 2 out of 3 falls style matchup, and that was the close to that show. So for this coming up week, there are no televised Road to Destruction shows coming up this week. So a little bit of a break for us Shineon freaks, and then the next televised show will be Wednesday, September 24th. So next week when we come back, we will preview that show, and then Sunday is Destruction in Kobe, the 28th. So next week we'll also preview that show as well. And so Josh should be back next week with me to preview both of those shows. One news item here and a couple questions, and I'm gonna wrap this thing up. So Wrestle Kingdom 20 ticket sale day has been announced. So the worldwide ticket sale day is going to be October 1st. So if you are interested in going to Wrestle Kingdom and you're an international fan, that's the day you want to look out to buy tickets. Josh and I are going to Japan. We are going to Wrestle Kingdom. Our flights are booked, and so we need to buy our show tickets, and we will be there. So if you are planning on going, let us know, so we can try to plan some kind of meetup kind of thing and hang out and catch up at the show. But really looking forward to my first trip to Japan, my first Wrestle Kingdom. So should be a really fun time. Hopefully, the show delivers. And it sounds like they have some things up their sleeve planned for that show. So we'll see how that develops as we get closer to Wrestle Kingdom 20. Then going into the couple questions here. So Let's Commission 7252 says, after hearing Josh roast on Aaron Wolf last week, do you still feel like Wolfie Boy should get that big push in his first year with the company? And should he even have a big matchup with a guy like Zach or Shingo? Or go the Boltin Oleg route and face the Young Lions on the pre-show? Well, his match is not going to be on the pre-show. They are making this a really big deal. And again, he does have that level of notoriety in Japan. He is kind of seen as a celebrity figure there, and Wrestle Kingdom is going to be televised for the first time in a long time outside of New Japan World, and they're going to capitalize on that. So he's not going to be on the pre-show. He's going to be on the main card. I think it's going to be an exhibition match, so it'll probably be like a 5-minute match kind of thing. As far as who he should face and kind of his look. And maybe come Wrestle Kingdom it'll be different. I think the Young Lion gear, the red sleeve gimmick that they wear in the shorts, is just not flattering for his body type, and he does look very much not like a star when he's out there at ringside wearing the Young Lion gear and doing the Young Lion duties. But maybe it'll look different if he comes out there in the judo gi. Because when he came out in the full suit a couple of shows ago, I forget which show that was. I think it might have been G1 Finals, maybe. He looked like a star in the suit and didn't really look, like completely out of shape. And so maybe rocking the gi will kind of cover some stuff up and make him look more like a star. And yeah, I don't, we just don't know. I don't know how he's progressing. I really haven't heard how he's doing in the dojo. And so I think you want to put him out there with somebody who could potentially carry him if things go awry. And so, I think a veteran like Zach and Shingo could be very good for that. It'll be a big match for them just because a lot of eyeballs are on the match. And so, obviously I'm sure those guys would want maybe a bigger spot in the card or be in the main event or whatever, but I think those would be guys you would trust to make sure that Aaron Wolf looks good in that match. I think the Boltin Oleg thing could be very interesting as well, depending on where Boltin is going into the Dome. If Bolton's still a never champion, I wouldn't do that, but if Boltin ends up losing the belt before the Dome, I think Boltin could be an interesting guy to face off of with his amateur wrestling background. And so you can get some good grappling between both those guys there. And I think Boltin has gotten to a point now where I think he could end up being able to help Aaron Wolf through a matchup as well. But I think your safest bet would be somebody like Zach or Shingo. And Zach has been cutting a lot of promos on him and mentioning him, so I do think that's kind of the direction they're going to go. But yeah, the look is not looking great right now, but again, maybe that will change if he's wearing the gi, and maybe he will get into better shape. And maybe if he comes out here and he's phenomenal, then the look is not that big of a deal. He could have the bigger body and be a phenomenal worker, then I'm all in. But right now he just doesn't look like a star, and it's a lot of question marks on, will he have the charisma in pro wrestling? Because there's a lot of success stories of obviously guys that transition from, amateur wrestling, judo, MMA into pro wrestling, but there's also a lot of guys who have failed transitioning from a shoot sport into pro wrestling, and they just don't carry over that same it factor that they had in their shoot sport. So hopefully he can, end up transitioning well into pro wrestling and doesn't end up being a dud. Last question also asks, when will Wrestle Kingdom go to Saudi Arabia? Will Gato sell his soul to the Saudi prince? So I'll see poking fun here at WrestleMania being announced for Saudi Arabia in 2027, I believe. I don't foresee Wrestle Kingdom ever going to Saudi Arabia, but who knows? Obviously, New Japan's financials are, they're still, they're not in the golden era. So who knows if Turkey, drops some money? Who knows? Maybe they'll Turkey, if he turns on New Japan World, maybe he'll want to buy it and bring Wrestle Kingdom over to Saudi Arabia. But I highly doubt we have to worry about that or that happening. Seems like WWE will be their main wrestling endeavors for Saudi Arabia. So interesting stuff going on there in the world of TKO. Last question here from Rambones Slam Pig. How do you feel about the ongoing segregation of the top junior matches away from the big cards on a smaller one? Seeing the junior singles and tag title matches on Battle Line Hokkaido instead of Destruction and Kobe seems frustrating, but I realize we need a lot of time for Hantai vs. Hell of Torture and Don Fale's triumphant return. Yeah, this is something that we have been talking about on the show, because we've seen the strategy this year where the juniors they're getting their own shows. We had the Junior Sakura Genesis earlier this year, and there's been a lot of Korakuens on these tours where you're having a big junior title match main event, and you're having the junior tag titles in the semi-main event. So I think there's a lot of pros and cons to it. I think it's good that you can highlight the juniors and allow them to main event their own shows and kind of be the draw for shows. But then also, I think it hurts that they're not featured on the big shows. And again, kind of back to the tag division discussion earlier, like perception is reality. And if the juniors are not on the big cards, on the bigger shows, and the bigger houses in big matches with the heavyweights, then they do kind of end up looking lesser. Like they're only, subjected to Korakuen Hall, can only main event there, and they're not good enough to be on the big card. And clearly, I think the strategy of them main eventing Korakuens and these other shows and being featured, it's working. The numbers look good when you put the junior title in a main event and some of the Road 2 style shows building up to the bigger shows. So I think from a financial side of it, I think it has been a success for what they've been doing there. But I don't know if it's worth hurting the perception of the juniors by only having them be on their own shows. I think they need to mix it up. I think you can do some of these other programs on the Road 2 shows that they're doing. You could easily do, the Never title match. Like, as much as I love Bolton Oleg, like, do we really need to see, Oleg and Fale on the main card over a Desperado title match? And Hiromu and Taiji Ishimori, as fun as that match is going to be, like, are you going to, like, could that not have been on, I guess they're junior, so, but there are some other matches that you could have swapped that match out for the junior title match. So yeah, I think that there are pros and cons to it, and I do think it's weird that a lot of these bigger shows you're not including the division, but I guess I got another argument too is I guess when they're on these semi-main events and main events, they're definitely getting more time. And a lot of times when they're on the bigger show, depending on where they're placed, they could end up being cut for time and maybe not have as great as a match as you would want them to have. So there's a lot of pros and cons, lots of back and forth factors there on to why and why not they're on these smaller shows. But I do think that this shouldn't be the trend. I do think that, they shouldn't, Wrestle Kingdom shouldn't be the only big show they're on. So yeah, I would like to see these guys, hopefully, King of Pro Wrestling comes and there is a compelling junior title match for that show. Well, that is going to wrap things up this week. So a little bit of a shorter edition here this week with me being solo, only 2 shows to cover and not a ton of news. So next week we'll be back. We will preview Destruction in Kobe and also that Battle Line Hokkaido show, and we'll cover all the latest news. And next week will be the show before I go on vacation. So I'm flying out to the UK on next Wednesday. So Young Boy will be at the helm after that for 2 weeks, and then I'll be back. So we'll see who the Young Boy pulls in, if he's going to do solo duty or if he will have some guests when I'm out in London and Norway. So I'll be here next week and then out the 2 weeks after that. So that'll be it until we'll be back for those previews next week. So remember, if you want to watch our show live or listen without ads, you can sign up at patreon.com/KI Strong Style. You can also make a donation by visiting socialbucks.com/donate and click on the donate button under the Keeping It Strong Style logo. Make sure to connect with us on social media on X and Blue Sky. Follow us at KI Strong Style, at SocialBucks, and at Jeremy L. Donovan, and at YB_Josh and Liger on Facebook. Follow us at facebook.com/SocialBucks and the Wrestling Square Circle Facebook group. On Reddit, on the Pro Black Guy, y'all Keeping It Strong Style. On YouTube, we are at SocialBucks. You can join our SocialBucks Discord server to interact with us and other wrestling fans. You can email me, Jeremy at socialsuplex.com. Check out all the shows that we have here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. One Nation Radio, hosted by Rich Latta and James Boyd. All Things Elite with Floyd and Austin. Imps, WWE Adventure with the Implications Matthew Mayer. Wrestling Art Chris Things, Tone Talk with Ali and Leah, and the Trish and Sarah Wrestling Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating and review, and I will catch you next week on Keeping It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts.
Thank you for listening to Keepin' It Strong Style. We'll see you next time.
Rose is your name, but when you poop it sure don't smell like roses. You're number 2, burns the hair in my nose. But we fought hand in paw, now your poop don't stink at all. Now that the air is clear, I'll treasure your front and rear, my sweet Rose.
Instantly neutralize poop stink with Poop Fighter from World's Best Cat Litter for the world's best cat.